It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the pregame show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game.
Extra rush, and they're going to end the game with a sack. So the Rams, instead of sending 3, dropping 8s and 5, Roseboom gets credit for the sack, and the Rams have now won 7 of their last 9. Baby.
It's a shame. It's embarrassing, really.
Might have been the most drops ever played in an opener before to a show here at 95.7 The Game. But
Shout out Deebo.
It was warranted. Yeah. The drops. That's good, Sam. Sam's on fire today. He's feeling it. 49ers are not. 12-6. That's a baseball score. Speaking of the Giants, that's just 12-6. What? No touchdowns scored. This is the first game all season. There was 0 touchdowns scored in an NFL game. And that's all she wrote for the San Francisco 49ers this season. Yeah, mathematically, they still might have a chance, but realistically, it's night-night. They're done. They're cooked. Turkey's in the oven. The roast beast is being carved by the Grinch. That was all she wrote for the San Francisco 49ers in the year 2024, the year of our Lord. That was an embarrassing offensive performance. And I'm not here to say, oh, well, the Rams won the game. That's what they did. They've won 7 of their last 9. You heard Al Michaels on the call for Amazon Prime Video yesterday. They were falling asleep. I mean, Al's always falling asleep, but even more so yesterday. Bonte Hill is at the game, and he's going to be on with Joe Shasky. They're going to be on another hour, but you got me for the next hour, 888-957-9570. Joe Spadoni in with you. Good morning to all you lovely people just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for school. We got a lot to get into. The 49ers season just going up in flames. Actually, it was getting washed away in not a monsoon, but that first half, the heavy stuff was coming down, and it showed. And the fans that were there, I guess, good luck to you. But Bonte Hill had a video yesterday where he said the fans were they were dead the whole game. You have to give them something to cheer about. What did the 49ers do yesterday to give the fans something to cheer about? Nothing. Brock Purdy, 14 of 31, 142 yards. And the season-ending interception.
Along that defensive front, 2nd and 11. 5.5 left in the 4th. Taylor is the running back. Purdy going for it all, and it's going to be picked off in the end zone. Darius Williams on an overthrow, and the Rams get the takeaway.
So, Brock Purdy yesterday had a lot of those balls happen. Just sailing on him, trying to push it down the field, trying to do something when he's not trying to force feed Deebo freaking Samuel, who dropped the ball. That would have ended up probably being a touchdown on a little slant. Just an embarrassing performance by the offense. And you know what? This is twice now within this calendar year in the biggest games of the season, one being the Super Bowl, and then the other one being last night at Levi's Stadium, in do-or-die situations, because don't get it twisted. The 49ers are dead this year. They're done. But in a do-or-die situation, one being the Super Bowl and one being now, the defense outplayed the offense. And Kyle Shanahan's the head coach. And yes, he will get a lot of blame for this season, for the offense, the production. You have Deebo, you have George Kittle, Garendo. He's a rookie. I wasn't going to expect too much, especially because he's coming off a foot sprain. But you have players out there. Juwan Jennings, you try to force feed him a couple times. Obviously, that final interception from Brock Purdy. Trying to go to Jennings there. He was the only one trying to make some plays. But it wasn't enough. And in a season that started, well, before the season, with hold-ins / holdouts, whether it was Brandon Ayuk, whether it was Trent Williams, to Ricky Pearsall, your first-round pick, getting shot in the chest, to, the tragedies that have taken place within the locker room when it comes to Charvarius Ward and Trent Williams and the loss of a child. Like, all of that. And then you got a guy like DeAndre Campbell refusing to play in the third quarter. Refusing to play because he got his feelings hurt because Dre Greenlaw returned and was starting to look like Dre Greenlaw in that first half. That was exciting. He was playing balls to the wall. He was explosive. He was fiery. He was setting the tone, and you felt it reverberate on the screen into all the other players. Hufanga was making plays, although he also didn't make a play. He had a club on his hand, opportunity for an interception. Lenore, opportunity for an interception, multiple. So it just wasn't the 49ers night. Wasn't the 49ers season. But we'll have all, the next few weeks to discuss that because the season's not over yet. And it's a weird position to be in, right? We're not used to talking about the 49ers season being over right now. Before Christmas? That can't be. Well, it is. 49ers season. Night. And I want to hear from the fans today. I want to hear from them. What's the most frustrating aspect of last night's game? Was it the offense? Was it Purdy? Was it Deebo Samuel who did all that talking? All that talking last week, doing all that talking a few weeks ago when he's going at your long snapper, Tabor Pepper, doing all this chirping. And to put out that performance the way he did, when Kyle Shanahan was trying to force feed you the ball after you complained as much as you did, your head coach is trying to have your back, and you have the drop that you did, it's unacceptable. And here is Deebo Samuel after the game talking about it with KTVU.
Very, very frustrating. At the end of the day, it's their ball. It's nothing there but the end zone. At the end of the day, just got to catch that rock.
I mean, you did that in the past.
Just like seeing the moment, came across the middle and see nothing but the end zone at the end of the day. Got to look the ball in and go score.
How much did weather impact you guys in that first half?
We got here, we was kind of expecting the rain. That's why a lot of guys wore studs, but didn't really impact it too much. We like to run the ball, so this is what we do. But it kind of limited, what we can do in the passing game a little bit.
Were the Rams doing anything in particular that was stopping the runs at all? Or?
No, I don't think so.
On that drop, your reaction, is that probably the pinnacle of your frustration this season?
I was more frustrated than anything that I even dropped the rock.
I mean, how nice was the ball that Purdy gave you?
Pretty good ball.
Were you happy with the game plan and how they were trying to get you involved tonight?
Yeah. At the end of the day, they didn't come out with the win, so we just got to be better.
I saw George talking to you in the locker room. Was he just giving you words of encouragement?
At the end of the day, George is George. He came over. He was like, man, I didn't see you make that play a million times. Don't let it eat you up. But I feel like I made that play. I think we win the game.
They may very well have. The Rams, I don't know what Sean McVay was doing in the red zone, some of those play calls, yikes. But that game was there to be had. And yeah, if you win that game, maybe you don't know what happens. Something could happen. Maybe you go on a little bit of a run. But, who are we kidding? Even if they win that game yesterday, you feeling confident about this team and their chances going forward? I don't. They're just not good. They're just not a good team. And 888-957-9570, that's the number to call or text the Comcast Business Text line. And I want to hear from you, Niners fans. 925, I see you on hold. I'll get to you in a second. We talked about it all season. They were going to have to do something last night that they haven't done all but once. And that's beat a team with a winning record. And they didn't do it. Because this team does not beat good teams. And say what you will about the Rams' performance yesterday, you might not have been impressed. I don't think anyone in the country was impressed with either team's performances yesterday. But I was impressed last week. And then them coming off that emotional win, off that short week, against a top contender in the AFC, I was more so expecting more of that from the Rams than I was from the Niners, who came out from a blowout win, who should be feeling good, who are at home, who aren't as tired or gassed as the opposing team. So for that performance, top to bottom, whether it's Deebo, who had 7 targets, 3 receptions, 16 yards, and then on the ground, 2 rushing attempts for 3 yards. It's just not good enough. Juwan Jennings, he was targeted a team high 9 times. He's had 2 receptions for 31 yards. He tried. Isaac Orendo, God love the rookie, 16 carries, 57 yards, but wasn't good enough. Brock Purdy, 14 to 31, a $142 and a pick. Might have been his worst game. It's not good. Ricky Pearsall, he had a catch. Yay. He's on the board for the first time in a few weeks. It's not good enough. The season as a whole was not good enough. 925. I'm going to you right now. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Going to you blind. You're on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, what's going on?
Yeah, Spadoni, what's up, man? This is Harmon calling from Danville, but I'm in Texas today for some work, so I'm up early, but I wanted to call in while the emotions were fresh.
What you got, brother? That was a tough one.
Yeah, all right, so here's my thing, man. Like, I was at the game in 2021 where the Niners were 3-5, and they gave it to the Rams, and that basically brought their season back. The next year, I was at that game where, same thing, Monday Night Football, defensive line was all over them. The entire season, in the last 2 years, man, like, they haven't had a defensive line that has been anything resembling, like, their good years. And then, flip on the other side of the ball, dude, like, the Rams have a bunch of first and second year guys who are dudes. And look, like, I'm not giving Brock a pass. Like, he did not play well enough. That last play was asinine. But at the same time, though, too, man, like, I respect the fact that the Rams have built up on the lines and they're nasty up front. So here's my thing with Kyle. Obviously, I don't think that Deebo will be back next year. And if we're going to refresh, man, you got to do it at the lines because that's when the Niners were dominant. And then the last thing, as everyone's going to call in today talking about, someone needs to send DeAndre Campbell back back on the bus and have him never come back again, man. I am so upset as a lifelong Niners fan that guy was in the same exact locker room as Fred Warner, George Kittle, and Dre Greenlaw. Tough game, still ride for the Niners. Appreciate what you guys do. Talk to you later.
That's Harmon in Texas. Usually from Danville, though. 888-957-9570. Pack your bags. DeAndre Campbell, yeah, that's going to be... I mean, that's the talking point in sports today. I mean, I'm seeing it on ESPN right now. I'm seeing it everywhere. It's just, he quit on the team. And if that's just not a final FU of a season move, I don't know what is for the San Francisco 49ers. Just everything that's gone on, and then you have that happen. It's just, it really is, it's a shame and it's embarrassing, as a great man once said. Kyle Shanahan talking about it after the game.
What happened with DeAndre Campbell? He didn't play and he went into the locker room at some point?
Yeah, he said he didn't want to play today.
Play today?
Yep.
The coaching staff?
He did when I asked him why he didn't want to go in. So.
During the game or before?
No, that was in the third quarter.
Has that ever happened to you where players said they didn't want to play in a game?
No.
He got demoted for this game, right? I mean, he was not going to play.
No, he was gonna go in when Dre came out.
Will you release DeAndre Campbell?
We'll figure out something, but I don't know that right now.
Did he give you any reason why he didn't want to play today?
No.
Campbell, I mean, to hear players say, I don't want to play today, does that create dissension, especially knowing that at this point in the season, with the type of season that this has started out to be, you kind of need as much camaraderie as possible to be successful? Does that create dissension amongst the team, or did it not really affect anyone? Did no one really notice?
People notice, but when someone says that you move on. You don't deal with that anymore.
Oh, and people noticed. One of them, George Kittle.
I didn't really hear anything about it until I got in the locker room, so it's all brand new information to me. Look, if you're on the roster, and you suit up, you're expected to play. I think anyone in this building that got asked to go in, I would say 100% of everybody would die to get on that football field. And so, people are going through random things off the field. I can't speak on that. Whatever, his decision was, it wasn't for this organization. It wasn't for this team. And no, that's on him. So, not very happy about it. I would have something to say. I wish I would have heard about it on the field, but I didn't. Is that the reason we lost? Absolutely not. But it's hard to win football games when someone doesn't want to play football, especially when you're suited up. It kind of puts you down, especially when you lose 2 linebackers and, could address another one.
888-957-9570. De'Vondre Campbell quitting in the third quarter. If that just doesn't sum up the 49ers season, I don't know what does. 650 and 925, I see you both on hold. 888-957-9570. That's the number to call or text. I want to hear your thoughts, Niners fans. It was a dud of an ending yesterday. 12-6. It's gross. We all had to watch it, too. I feel for the fans that had to be there, too. It's one thing if I'm in my nice, cozy couch, which I was, eating some pizza, got the little ones there. But to be out at that game, and I saw all the ponchos, you're trying to smile, you're trying to have a good time when the camera pans to you, but you got to be just like, why did I come here? Why did I do this to myself? I'm a glutton for punishment. 650, I'm going to you blind. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the pregame show.
Hey, James from San Mateo.
Hey, what's up, James? What you got, brother?
Hey, I'm a lifelong Seahawks fan, so, I never really rooted for the Niners. But I hate when teams always say, oh, injuries. It's like an excuse. But I got to admit, the injuries the Niners had this year were absolutely devastating. I mean, I can't believe the amount of injuries they had. If it's not McCaffrey and Lenore, and it's Bosa, and, Greenlaw was pretty much out the whole time. I mean, they didn't have a chance with the injuries that they had. And, like I said, I'm anti, blame it on the injuries thing. But this is the first time I think in my life with the injuries the Niners have that I actually will go, okay, yeah, I get it, And I think, too, that a lot of this now shows without all those weapons, whether it's defensive or offensive, Purdy looks like an average quarterback at best. And I feel terrible for him because he's going into a contract here, and this is probably going to hurt him. That's all I have to say.
That's James. 888-957-9570. It was not good. You kept hearing the name. You couldn't, especially with him being on the opposing sideline. It was Jimmy Garoppolo-esque. And by the way, if you didn't know, Jimmy Garoppolo, backup for your Los Angeles Rams. 925-888-957-9570. 925, I'm going to you next. You're on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Spadoni!
Oh, it's my guy. It's Chrissy.
Chris from San Jose.
What's up, Chrissy?
What's happening, bud? Man, as I drive to work on this gloomy Friday, which kind of feels like an oxymoron, it's hard not to reflect on the whole season. That last caller, the Seahawks fan, I somewhat disagree because, they did have all these injuries, but you still, flat out blew 3 in-division games where, you lose that game last night. If you won those other 3, you'd still be in first place in the division. So, while it's true they have been decimated by injury, they still had enough to get the job done throughout the year. So that's my one quarrel I have with that caller. But, this De'Vondre Campbell thing, I don't want to make it about one guy, but it's more indicative to me of, as I've spoken to you about recently, they got to start the rebuild. This retooling on a year-to-year basis, bringing in mercenaries like a Chase Young, like a De'Vondre Campbell, who don't want to give it their all and who have to be told, like Chase Young had to be told to play harder in the playoffs, really. So these mercenaries they're bringing in that don't know the Niner way, and, I don't know if they got that dog in them like we were talking about the other day, but, I don't know where to go from here other than you got to realize Kittle's getting older, Deebo's gone. I ran down this list for you. CMC may never be the same. The caller did touch on something that was spot on. The trenches are abysmal. I'm so tired of watching Colton McKivitz on these slow, look at this defensive end, get around and get to the McKivitz is like he's not even there. He's just like one of those flailing inflatable arm tube men at the used car lot. He's just kind of there. He's a big guy. Oh, I'm here, I'm there. But really, he's not doing anything at all. You know what I mean? He's just a big body. So they got to retool the line. It's time for a rebuild, Spadoni. It's not a great day, but hey, as I said a week or two ago, it's Macklin Celebrini time, baby. 2 goals, 1 assist last night. I'm looking for that fast 60 seconds of Macklin, whatever you guys call it. Come on, baby. Anyway, Spadoni, love you, kid. Let's have a great Friday. It's time to rebuild, man.
There you go.
Have a good one.
Merry Christmas. That's Chris out in San Jose. Merry Christmas. Yeah, rebuild is strong. I know what he means, though. Retool, revamp, whatever you got to do. I look at what the Philadelphia Eagles did in their offseason. I'm not saying you go whole regime change with their offensive and defensive coordinators, but you need to hit on the draft. And not that I think the 49ers didn't completely hit on the draft, but you see what the likes of Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean have done for that defense out in Philadelphia, who had one of the worst secondaries towards the end of the last year, and now they have one of the best, if not the best, and their 2 young studs are out there because of it. Yeah, an offseason can change everything. Look at where the Rams were. Look at that. The Rams, the whole thing is F them picks. Les Snead, Sean McVay, they didn't care. They were going after the mercenaries. They were making the trades for Jalen Ramsey. They were trying to get Odell Beckham. By the way, Odell Beckham getting released, and what do you know it? The Rams, one of the teams of interest, along with the Baltimore Ravens, who obviously Odell played for last season. So there's a lot to be made of how this season went, what needs to get better. The trenches, absolutely. The defense, was Bosa on the field yesterday? I know he came back, but did you guys see him on the field? I didn't see him. Well, Bosa did have this to say after the game, though.
We're going to find out who wants to be here next few weeks. Obviously, it's slim, and that's not really the focus is to win games and to put our best out there.
We're going to find out who wants to be here. We know DeAndre Campbell doesn't. What do you think about that, Nick Bosa?
I didn't know till now, but until I know more about the situation, I'm not going to talk about it.
He's not going to talk about it. Keatle did. Kyle Shanahan did. What about Brock Purdy?
Yeah, I had no idea. I mean, obviously, I'm trying to focus on the offense and where we're at. I didn't know until after the game, to be honest, that Devondre, was not playing. And, I don't really know what to say to that, so.
Some guys trying to catch themselves, not wanting to, go out too far and maybe hurt themselves, say something they regret. Shanahan, he said it is what it is. He was just no nonsense. He was very calm, nonchalant, yeah, that's what he did. He quit. Yeah, he left. Yeah, we'll see. If we're gonna, not fine him, but cut him. I like saying firing in this case. I know you're not technically doing it. Just fire his ass. Go Vince McMahon. You're fired. Just go there.
Might be suggestible.
Thank you, Anthony Slater. Dre Greenlaw, the guy that Campbell was supposed to come in to relieve because Dre Greenlaw playing his ass off in the first half, finally activated, finally playing in his first game since tearing his Achilles in the Super Bowl in a freak incident. He was awesome. I was feeling his energy through the screen. But you know what? He was playing so damn hard in the first half. You got to give him some rest. He had some soreness. Protect him from himself. You're not going to play the second half. All right. Devondre, coming off a great game, your best game of the season against the Bears. You should be fresh. Come on down. And he just says no? He just says no? You kidding me? Jeez. Dre Greenlaw on that.
Yeah, I don't know. He didn't want to play, so I mean, I guess if you don't want to play, you ain't got to play, So you ain't want to play.
If you don't want to play, you ain't got to play. Jesus, what a just disaster of an ending of this year. It's not even over. We got a couple weeks here to go, but yeah, for all intents and purposes, yeah, it's a wrap. 209 doesn't want there to be any more Campbell talk. 209, there's going to be a lot of Devondre Campbell talk today at 95.7 The Game. And some people might say, I don't want to waste a breath on the guy. I don't want to waste this. It's more symbolic than anything for me And it's unfortunate because I do think this team was still trying to play. They're playing hard. Like guys like Fred Warner, they're giving it everything they got. The guys like George Kittle, they're giving it their all, man. Charvarius Ward, like, that's who I'm pissed off for today. And we're going to hear from Charvarius at one point because he went off on this. And I'm going to grab that sound during the break because if anyone has a gripe about, this season and maybe playtime and maybe I don't want to play, who like has a legitimate, like, okay, yeah, that guy, he doesn't have to play. And we would never use that word quit with him. But Charvarius Ward dealing with the tragedy, the loss of his 1-year-old daughter. And that guy's going out there pushing through injuries as well. Giving it everything he has. Knowing he's probably gone after this season anyways. And he's still going out there. All 49ers, no one would blame Charvarius if he wanted to shut it down the rest of the season, given what has taken place in his personal life. But he is still going out there. And to have a teammate like that, DeAndre Campbell, and I don't know his personal life. I don't know what's going on in his head. And I know that's what Bosa is not diving too much into. He doesn't want to. But you know what? From what I know right now, it's a horrible look. And it's a disservice to your teammates and to everyone on that staff. And to the fans, quite frankly, that showed up there and soaking wet and to watch their team put up 6 freaking points and didn't even get in the end zone. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. One segment down, 2 more to go. 888-957-9570. I want to hear from you fans. I want to hear your frustrations. I want to hear the passion. I want to hear it all. And I want to hear from Charvarius Ward about that next as the pregame show, Joe Spadoni, rolls on 95.7 The Game.
Getting quality employees to fill positions.
on the season. Niners fall to 6-8, and it's a wrap. I mean, I hate to go Priest and Palo Alto. Actually, I don't hate it. I love Priest and Palo Alto, but
It's a wrap.
There you go.
Move on, Joe.
I got to keep talking about it, Priest. I do. And I want to hear from the fans today. And please be safe driving out there. It's going to be wet. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be windy. It is wintertime. Please be safe. Don't do anything dumb. Like the 49ers did yesterday. Just really one guy did something dumb, and that was DeAndre Campbell. But, Sam and I were talking after just this past break, and he was saying, people are going to let DeAndre Campbell be like the scapegoat today of all their frustrations. He's going to be the guy everyone's going to be punching because they don't want to address certain problems. I want to hear it all. He's not, listen, DeAndre Campbell he was not good this year. So, that's, if anything, it's just him. He's great. I mean, you were damn near, it felt like you were quitting on the team with your play on the field most of the season anyways. So, good riddance. Shout out Green Day. Great. It's just more symbolic of the season than anything for me. And we still got a few weeks to go here. So we're going to have to talk about the 49ers. Now we're going to talk about them as much. Is the conversation going to start shifting? Absolutely. Yeah, these next few weeks still matter for some people on this team. And we're going to find out, as Nick Bosa said, who wants to be here going forward and who doesn't.
We're going to find out who wants to be here next few weeks. Obviously, it's slim, and that's not really the focus is to win games and to put our best out there.
That's the focus right now. And while DeAndre Campbell is not the end-all, be-all of the season, he wasn't the end-all, be-all yesterday, and he's just a minor blip on what has been just a disaster of a season for the San Francisco 49ers. I do understand fans' frustration. And if they need someone to be angry at today, that's fine. But there's a lot of things you could be angry at this season. You could be angry at the injuries. Sometimes you can't do anything about that, though. You can be frustrated with the play on the field. You can be frustrated with guys that have gotten paid that haven't really lived up to their contracts the last 2 seasons. Nick Bosa might be one of them. Deebo Samuel absolutely has not lived up to it. Brandon Ayuk got hurt. He didn't have a chance to live up to his contract. But before that, he wasn't doing it. Juwan Jennings, guy's on a bargain. Dre Greenlaw, God love the guy. He came back from a torn Achilles, and this time I was shocked he even came back this calendar year. It was 10 months ago. And he came back, and he was looking like Dre Greenlaw again. But he had to be careful coming back. And they had to sit him out in the second half to protect him from himself. And when Campbell's number was called upon, he didn't show up. Which, again, is a slap in the face to guys like Charvarius Ward, who has gone through hell this season in his personal life and battling through injuries. And this is Ward after the game talking about it.
I mean, he's a professional. He's been playing for a long time. I mean, if he didn't want to play, he shouldn't have dressed out. He could have told him that before the game. So I feel like there was some subtle shit that he did. Definitely hurt the team because, D went down and we needed a linebacker, And I think Flan was banged up too. So for him to do that, that's some subtle stuff to me, in my opinion. It's probably going to get cut soon. So, it is what it is with that.
Charvarius Ward yesterday, 888-957-9570. Joe is out in Sacktown. He wants to join in the conversation. What's going on, Joe? You're on the pregame show with Joe Spadoni.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I was just kind of upset about that game plan last night to, I think it was a pride and ego of our coaching staff and management to force feed Deebo the game plan to prove he's not washed when he is washed, and he's proved that all season. DeAndre Campbell quit on the team last night. I don't know. I don't like him as a player, but I feel like Dre Greenlaw coming back is the best thing that has happened in the past month for this team. I just wanted to chime in and better luck next season.
There it is. That's Joe in Sacramento, 888-957-9570. Better luck next year, right? You feel like that the hockey coach in Happy Gilmore when they just laugh at, I didn't hear my name called. Oh, you didn't? Oh, well, better luck next year. Great. That's not going to do anything for Niner fans. The season's not even over. That's why this is just, we're not used to this situation with the 49ers. We're not used to this team being out of it prior to Christmas. But they are. And they got pride to play for the next few weeks. Pride. And you got still a massive Monday Night Football matchup against probably the team that's going to win the NFC, the Detroit Lions. The game yesterday, and I know we'll talk about it. We'll talk the game. Just the Deebo Samuel, the force feeding, as Joe is alluding to. And for him not to catch the ball after all the talking he's done, I think Sam sent it in the chat. He's like, maybe Jake Moody should go yell at Deebo Samuel. I mean, Jake Moody did his job yesterday. Did he not? He made his field goals. He put his team in a position to win more so than Deebo Samuel has. Should Jake should have gone up in his face and shoot him out? No, he didn't do it. Just like, Tabor Pepper, when he's doing his long snaps and not making mistakes, he's not going at Deebo. He's not going back at him. It's only when Deebo goes at, the skilled position player, the skilled special teams players, I should say. Like, come on. What are we doing? Yeah, Deebo, I don't expect back next season. DeAndre Campbell, I don't expect back this weekend. Today, I don't even know. I'm waiting for them counting down the clock. Well, the breaking news that he's gone, I'm sure at some point today. And if you're another team, do you even touch that? I mean, his play has been not great. I mean, that first and foremost, that's why I wouldn't. But if you're a contender out there who just needs the depth, would you even consider getting a guy like DeAndre Campbell? I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Ugh. Fred Warner, heart and soul of that defense. A linebacker that does show up every single week, even if it's on a fractured ankle. What went wrong this season, Fred?
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably talk about it more when the season ends, but, I think it was a story of the year of just not doing enough to win games, not playing complimentary, not, just coming up a little too short, so.
And, even in a loss yesterday, Dre Greenlaw's return, it felt good. Now, I know he couldn't play in the second half. They were protecting him. That was the smart move. But just in that first half alone, all the rain coming down, the hard hits, you felt the energy reverberating off all of his teammates. It was so nice to see. And that was a feel-good moment. If anything else, you could feel good about that. And I'm not letting DeAndre Campbell ruin that. Just because he didn't want to step up like he's been doing all season long in Dre Greenlaw's absence. And I guess for some reason he was shocked by them playing him the entire first half. You think Dre Greenlaw is just going to go tiptoeing into the game? No, he's going to go balls to the ball, balls to the wall. He's going to go play at 100 miles an hour. He's going to play as much as he can. And he did the entire first half. All right, DeAndre, come on. You were blindsided by this? You knew what the role was when you signed up for it, dude. I just don't get it. I don't. Was this his way of trying to force himself off his team to another contender? Was that what he was trying to do? If that was the case, I got a newsflash for you, buddy. That was the dumbest thing you could have done. If I'm the Detroit Lions, do I want to go get a guy like that? Bring him into that locker room? No. If I'm Philadelphia Eagles, don't want to do that. If I'm the Seattle Seahawks, no. Not even close. Speaking of Dre Greenlaw, how'd it feel to come back, bud?
Yeah, it felt good. It felt good to just be out there with my brothers, run around, just having fun, man. It felt good.
You can see that, too. The fun. It hasn't been a lot of fun this year for the San Francisco 49ers. And you could tell, just in that first half alone, how much they missed a guy like Dre Greenlaw this season. One player can make all the difference. It might not be the best player on the team, like talent-wise, but don't get it twisted. They absolutely Missed that guy. 888-957-9570 is the number. We're going to put a bow in this conversation, put a bow in the week here on the pregame show before handing it off to Bonta Hill and Joe Shasky. Get your calls and texts in now. 888-957-9570. 49ers fall to 6-8 after a 12-6 loss to the rival Los Angeles Rams. The Rams sweep the 49ers on the season. And we're talking about it here on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
Sports at the Art Museum. Sports at the Art Museum. I'm not saying wear your gym shorts. Hey, why not? Downtown, top 4.
Where do we begin on a game like last night? Season on the line. You put up, just couldn't do anything. I don't want to hear about the rain in the first half. I don't want to hear it. Sammer and Mike, I see you. I'll get you guys in just a second. Kyle Shanahan on the offensive struggles last night. God.
Not good enough. I thought we played good enough to win, and obviously on defense and special teams, but we just definitely didn't play good enough on offense. I thought the main thing, didn't get the run game going, which was huge. I thought that was the difference in the two offenses. They got the run game going better than we did, and we had a couple opportunities there in the pass game that, I think could have led to 14 points, and didn't have a lot of them, but we had definitely had a couple and didn't make those, and that's what it led to.
888-957-9570 is the number to call or text. Good morning to all of you tuning in on Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube. We are streaming on all those platforms all day long. It's a Football Friday. We're reacting to this game all day long with you. 888-957-9570. It's all powered by First NorCal Credit Union. And again, download the free Odyssey app and favorite 95.7 The Game wherever you are going. All right, Sammer out in Dublin. What's going on, Sammer? You're on with Joe Spadoni on the pregame show. What's up?
Hey, Joe. I listen to you every morning. I just love your show. You're doing a hell of a job. I just want to chime in on this. The offense just didn't look good at all because force-feeding Deebo. Just play naturally. You had things going on with Kittle early. I don't know why they veered away from it. As far as the season goes, there's a lot of stuff that happened throughout the year. A lot of injuries. You had the tragedies on the side, all that stuff. And I feel for those because I'm a dad myself. But listen, man, I think we should just pack it in, not even, drop, let the backups play. Just don't risk any more injuries. And, maybe next year, because the Super Bowl's in Levi's next year, and just come back fresh with everybody not holding out and whole off season, and everybody's just good to go. I'll take your answer off the air. All right. Bye.
Thank you, Sammer. That's Sammer out in Dublin. 888-957-9570. Start shutting people down? I think you might start seeing that in the coming weeks. I know Bose is saying we're going to find out who wants to be here. Well, you're going to have to protect some players from themselves. Like a guy like Dre Greenlaw. I might have seen enough from that first half alone to say, all right, I think he's good. Or does he need to get those legs back under him? Does he need to play sparingly, every other quarter thing? I don't know. Fred Warner's playing with a fractured ankle. Do I really want him to be out there still at this point? Do I? Now you got to, rip his helmet away from him and tell him, no, you're not playing. That's a guy that wants to be out there every single play. But again, protecting the players from themselves, preserving the guys that are going to be here going forward. If you think about that, Kittle is having an amazing season. Let him build off of it. Keep going. Brock Purdy's got a lot to play for. I'll tell you that in these next few weeks. Absolutely he does. His level of play right now is just not good enough. He's not the biggest reason why this team has stunk, but he's definitely not going to be a guy that I look at and say, yeah, he was one of the bright spots of this. I can't say that. He's been a bright spot. Kittle has been a bright spot. George Kittle has been a bright spot. Deommodore Lenoir this season has been a bright spot. Dominic Pooney, for the most part, has been a bright spot. Hey, Jalen Moore. I know yesterday was tough. That defensive line of the Rams might be one of the best in the league. That was tough. For the most part, though, I think he's held his own. Colton McKivitz, maybe kick rocks. Again, that's going to be a conversation for another day, just what you're going to be hanging your hat on this past season and what needs to be revamped and retooled in a significant way. We have whole entire year coming up to talk about that, to be quite honest with you. But today, we're focused on the game and what feels like the final nail in the coffin on this 49ers season, which, again, still has 3 more weeks to go. Mike, down in San Diego, wants to join in on the conversation. What's going on, Mike?
I want winners. I want people that want to win.
That's it, Mike?
I would rather play with 10 people and just get penalized all the way until we got to do something else.
Go Niners, baby!
That's okay. Mike is that Mike Singletary that called in from San Diego just to put you gotta laugh, right? Or else you're just gonna cry from the pain. You gotta laugh at it.
Might be suggestible.
Thank you, Slater. Yeah, we're gonna be full Warriors mood, starting start on Monday probably. We're going to be pushing a lot of Warriors. That's a team that, although we'll see with them too, because not a lot of people were happy yesterday. And how long can we keep blaming the refs or blaming this, that, and that? Like, Steph is not, he's still a good player, but he's not going to be looking like Steph all the time. Jonathan Kuminga, I would like to see more from him. Like, there's so much about the Warriors we're going to be getting into. So much. Which, the sports talk radio host of me wants to be talking Niners. I want to be talking about playoff football. I want to have more content to talk about. It's great when I could talk about and weave in, not only Willie Adames signings or interest in Corbin Burns from the Giants' perspective, and then the Warriors, will they be interested in Jimmy Butler, LeBron James? I like talking about the 49ers and, can they win a freaking Super Bowl? Can they go on a run? Like, I would have loved to talk about that. The team just never showed up. It just didn't show up. And when they did, something bad happened. Someone got hurt. By the way, did you see Fred Warner, that crazy, his leg twisting yesterday? I don't know how he didn't get a significant injury there. God, it looks painful. And by the way, the broadcast panning on, I was watching, I'm sure most of you caught this, and we can laugh a little bit here. When they panned to Trent Williams, and it wasn't Trent Williams, it was, I don't know who it was just some guy, might have been a player, just standing there. And it's like, that's not Trent Williams. It was on the sideline too, and Trent Williams ended up being in a box. But that made me laugh. That made me giggle. Jim is out in Dublin. He wants to join the conversation. We got a couple minutes left here. Let's squeeze in some of these calls. Jim, what's going on, man? You're on the pregame show.
I'm good. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing as well as I can be. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Hey, that was definitely Mike Singletary, man. That was definitely Mike Singletary that called in. But I want to say this, though. The 49ers, they can't convert on third downs, man. There was a lot of plays that would have kept drives going, say like on their own 40 and maybe even midfield, and it'll just be a drop or Purdy would have to rush to throw because the line isn't protecting them and stuff like that. So, we're talking about all the position players. We need to get somebody on the O-line as well, man. And they need to do some reevaluating with Purdy, man, because, the longer the season has been going on, the more he's showing you his weaknesses, man. I'll take the call off on the other end.
All right.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Jim. 888-957-9570. Purdy, the Purdy conversation is going to be there, and he does have a lot to play for these next 3 weeks. I will tell you that right now. And it's going to be about dollar bills more than anything else. He's going to be the 49ers starter next year. Don't get it twisted. But the dollar bills, y'all, the cream, that's what we're going to be talking about. Ariel is out in South San Francisco, wants to join the conversation. What's going on, Ariel?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Good morning. I just wanted to chime in on one of the first callers said about shutting down the starters. Honestly, I completely agree. At this point, there's no point in getting anybody hurt. We saw Fred Warner just playing his tail off, until he was limping damn near off the field. At this point, honestly, we're better off just seeing what the rookies could do, just letting them finish strong, seeing what other type of bright spots we could lean forward for next season. That's all I got. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Go Niners.
Thank you, Ariel. 888-957-9570. We got a couple minutes here to go. And just a disappointing loss. Just disappointing loss and a disappointing way to end this season, even though it's not officially over for, again, all intents and purposes. It's a wrap, as Priest and Palo Alto said. And I almost feel like the mood is not, it could be anger, it could be sadness, it could just be, finally we can move on. Like, there's a lot of different ways to feel today as a sports fan. I want to hear from all of them today and start lining them up for the morning roast coming up next. 888-957-9570. Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky. It's all about you today. There's no guests, there's no one, it's just you on this Football Friday here at 95.7 The Game. Bonte Shasky, Steiny Koo, Willard Dibbs, everyone is going to be locked and loaded, all 49ers, as they take a 12-6 loss yesterday over the division rival Los Angeles Rams. And, DeAndre Campbell is not going to be the main storyline. Maybe nationally they'll be talking about it because that's just a guy quit on his team, and that's just going to be a story. But it was more symbolic for me than anything, that move. There's so many other problems with this team than DeAndre freaking Campbell. Now, he stunk most of the season. Don't get me wrong. He was not good. And the fact that you had to rely on him, and you could see just how much they miss Dre Greenlaw. Dre Greenlaw did more in that half. Dre Greenlaw did more in that half of football than DeAndre Campbell did all season. Let's just be honest. Bonte Hill, Joe Shasky, they're coming up next. Morning Roast. Have a good weekend, everybody.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. Powered by First NorCal Credit.